Happy Meat Farm's Genome Modification, created by This Place Is Not Happy, is a collection of ARG-based videos displaying the horrifying atrocities a fictional organization called Happy Meat Farms commits in order to produce more meat. The set of 2 videos available now on YouTube, including an ARG website, entails the story of this unethical organization, which despite the multiple advertisements of being humane, conducts horrible animal and human experiments. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you, and I hope you find today's story entertaining. If you want to suggest me videos like this one, you can do so on my Twitter. Genome Modification Test 043 is a footage belonging to Happy Meat Farms Incorporation, which is heavily restricted for the viewing of authorized personnel only, as they call them R&D personnel. Severe civil and criminal penalties are incurred for reproduction, viewing, or distribution of such footage, as it is of utmost confidentiality. The Happy Meat Farms R&D department, which stands for Research and Development, have logged in their findings and results as a form of recording. Despite the display of humane meat production and organic, non-genetical modification, the footage depicts complete opposite. The recording contains the horrific advanced genome modification test number 43. The first subject, known as C0172, is a 31 days old male chicken with visible skin aberrations and growth still being alive. The final recommendation, however, is termination, as the results are not satisfactory. Second test subject, known as M0097, is a female cow aged 15 months old, who also did not show satisfactory results with enlarged udder and tumor growth. She's unfortunately recommended to suffer the same fate. Next test subject is labeled P0112, being a male pig aged 5 months, who has lost its face due to the cruel experimentations. The pig, despite looking severely deformed, is recommended to be studied further. The subsequent test subject, M0098, a 12-month-old female cow, dies instantly after developing a stomach eye, being recommended to be incinerated to get rid of any evidence. R&D department, finding the results to be ineffective, increased the treatment levels, which seems to slowly show more effective results. The subsequent test subject, labeled P0113, being a 3-month-old female pig, which deforms severely but is taken for further studying as well. Subject C0174, being a 17 days old male chicken, grows exponentially, as if trying to duplicate itself but still attached to one body. The organization, intrigued by the result, not sure if the chicken is still alive or not, sends it to HR. Next subject, M0099, a 3-month-old female cow, shows development of extreme growth while being alive, as if it's almost fully duplicated, showing more satisfactory results and being sent to the HR as the result. The HR department is actually bigger than the factory itself, with heavy restrictions for anyone not to enter. Delivery can be made to the HR department, but no one is allowed to enter or snoop in, except for the strictly authorized personnel. The organization yet again increases treatment levels as they see more success in their genome modification experiments. Next subject, being P0114, a 2-month-old male pig, shows uncontrollable growth and killing an employee as the result, seemingly showing more success. But it is killed as the result of uncontrollable growth, and subsequently the corpse is sent to HR. Subject M0101, a 7-month-old male cow, manages to escape the facilities, with the only image of it showing a completely deformed organism, not having any semblance of a cow anymore. The organization, happy with the results of the experiments and finding it effective, moved to the next stage, which is experimenting on humans. Moving on to Genome Modification Test 47, the Happy Meat Farms depicts that they have started their human trials. An infomercial explains that they have a new proposition for employees intending to advance in their organization, to be testers of their new innovative products in the research and development department, reassuring that they will not be harmed and will be 100% safe in an overcompensating tone. Subject H0018, being a 51 years old human male who volunteered for the experimentation, ended up with a severely deformed face, but with no additional growth. He unfortunately is recommended to be terminated as the result. Subject H0019, a 30 years old male who also volunteered, shows contorted and deformed skin, but no additional growth. He is also recommended to be terminated. Subject H0020, a 35 years old female, ends up being completely disintegrated and liquefied, who was in fact classified to be an subordinate employee. This displays how the organization not only tests on volunteers, but also employees who disobey them, possibly employees who become horrified to the discovery of the cruel experimentations and defy it. Results being less than satisfactory, they order the treatment levels to be increased. Next test subject, labeled H0021, a 44 years old male, also is a volunteer who shows slight growth, yet again being less than satisfactory, and as the result, being terminated. Subject H0022, a 41 years old female, being yet again another volunteer, shows slight growth, getting in the ceiling, having completely deformed and being unrecognizable, whom seemingly becomes terminated as well. Subject H0023, a 25 years old male, who's classified to be an outsider, simply has only a recorded audio with results being unknown. The audio displays how this man was severely harmed and possibly tortured, as he was an outsider. The organization possibly only wanted to torture the man, deviating from their original experiments. The treatment levels are yet again increased, with the first subject being H0024, a 54 years old male. He's classified as a non-compliant journalist who shows significant growth and as the result is sent to the HR, possibly for further testing and studying. This displays how the organization treats journalists to try to expose their cruel experimentations. They kidnap them as they have immense power in the government, with them being protected, playing with human lives. Subsequently, subject H0025, a 32 years old male, being another insubordinate employee, shows significant growth, mentioned to be devoid of any human qualities. The horrifying image corresponds with the description, with the unlucky, unwilling employee having no resemblance to a human at all anymore. The results being satisfactory, the organization increases treatment levels even further. Test subject H0027, a 47 years old female, simply classified as a host, escapes the containment, being described as extremely dangerous and intelligent. The results showing significant growth and effectiveness. A cryptic line mentions that mother will be pleased. That's when terrifying figure glitches in, mentioning not to feed them.
Don't feed them.
To understand the purpose of this organization, claiming to be a happy humane farm, let's take a look at their website. They won a lawsuit in January 3rd, 2019 against some journalist publications which they claim to have libeled their company, which mysteriously are retracted after the journalists lose the lawsuit and paying large sums of money. In March 15, 2020, they expand their R&D department, and in 2021, they sponsor up-and-coming online creators to engage in the community, displaying how aggressively they want to be influential. The slogan of the company mentions that their vision is to create a happier and more humane future, letting the livestock roam free than to be caged in factory farms. It's mentioned that most animals are factory farmed, living in horrid conditions, and most are genetically modified to produce more meat, causing more genetic diseases and harms in the animals, which is a fact in the real world. Being founded in 1998, they mentioned their goal is to create a more humane way to produce meat, claiming that their animals are 100% natural with no GMOs and chemicals added. They explain they prefer to lose profits than to harm animals and cut corners. The Happy Meat Farms organization is clearly a powerful mega organization which seemingly has connection to the government and its economy, controlling aspects of media and press. Despite the journalists having proof, seemingly publishing articles, their stories get retracted and they lose the lawsuit against them. The organization, after successfully experimenting on animals, which they so pretentiously mention to value and care about, they move to the next phase, being the human trials. The main goal of the experiments seemed to be additional growth of the organisms, even possibly duplicating them as it's apparent in the animals. As when the animals are duplicated, with duplicates being harmed and killed, no one would know, as under ideal circumstances, the original tested animal would not be harmed. Therefore, to the public, no animal was harmed, if only the duplicates are. It doesn't stop there, however, as humans are the next target. Despite the advertisement mentioning that human testers will not be harmed, they experiment on them, ending up with severe deformations and growth, usually getting terminated or used as a source of meat. The main purpose of the human experimentation seems to be growth as well, as seemingly if the meat of humans are grown to huge proportions, no animals would be harmed as the result, with the human meat being served instead. The humans they test on are usually volunteers whom they lie to for advancing their positions in the organization, and at times journalists trying to expose them and employees who defy them are also used against their will and forced into the experimentations. A final test subject, simply classified as the host, is experimented on, which escapes the facilities whom they label to be extremely intelligent and dangerous, which seems to interrupt the transmission and instruct people not to eat the meat. Apparently, the organization wants to actually genetically modify both animals and humans to increase their meat production, despite the false advertisements. A cryptic and sinister line at the end also mentions that a character called Mother will be pleased, who seems to be at the head of the organization, maybe even the original founder of the company. More videos definitely or hopefully will come out, as I'm really invested now, unveiling more information about the cryptic and sinister story of this brilliant ARG. If you stayed till now, why don't you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay tuned for more videos like this one. If you already have, well, just want to say that you're awesome. It's been your host Star, and as always, have a fantastic day.